Good morning. You listen to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is David Sheehan, the Senior Vice President of Residential Product with Mannington Mills. David, how you doing?
I am good this morning, Kemp. Hope you are.
I am. I wanted to let you give us an update on what's going on with the WEGAR Forced Labor Protection Act and how Mannington is strategically changing a few things to work around some of those issues. Before we get to that, though, the big news of the last 10 days or so has been this announcement of Keith Campbell setting his plan to retire at the end of the year and the whole cascading of other leadership changes as a result of that. And let me just mention, Keith's been the chairman of Mannington Mills for 28 years, and now a fifth-generation leader, Zach Zahner, comes in and steps into that role, right?
Indeed. We've got some exciting times right now that are going on at Mannington. A lot of moving parts to those changes. Really excited about the new leadership that we've got in place. As you mentioned, Keith's going to retire. Zach is going to ascend to that chairman role. We're looking forward to Jimmy Tooley on the residential side leading the ship for us. And then a whole slew of other changes, including Al Ballone, who is coming back from the commercial side, being reunited to the residential team. Excited to have him as our sales leader. And then Whitney Legate, she will be in charge of all commercial products. We're really excited about the new leadership team that we've got in place.
Okay, exciting time. And you take an expanded role, continue to do what you've been doing on the product side, but also taking over marketing as well, right?
Indeed. We've got some really bright and capable leaders. Lori Keith is our VP of Marketing. She and I have collaborated over the past 5 years that I've been back at Mannington. She's a very bright and capable marketeer, and I'm looking forward to collaborating with her further.
You know, Mannington Mills, family-owned company. And what that means is you can take the long view on investments and on performance sales demand as opposed to being private equity funded or publicly traded. Love the industry's family-owned company.
Yeah, it does afford us some advantages. When you are privately held, you do have a lot more flexibility in making the right decisions for the company.
All right, let's move over to this WEGAR Forced Labor Protection Act. You know, obviously, it's held up products from Asia at the border. The border and customs folks aren't really giving us their play sheet, and you guys have had to react strategically. Talk about what you're doing to react to this.
Yeah, this has had a significant and substantial impact to the industry, to us, and to our customers. It began, believe it or not, late December of 22. We've tried to act in an open and transparent fashion to let our customers know about not only the impact, but things that we're going to do in order to respond to it. Whereas other folks were focused on telling the market what they didn't have, we focused on telling the market what we did have. We obviously have got a U.S.-made Max, a Duramax capability. We're the only meaningful producer of WPC in the U.S. We quickly rearranged our merchandising so that it would focus both the RSA as well as the consumer on what's available now, which included a good portion of our Duramax offering, as well as we're the only major supplier of glue-down flexible LVT, and we're the only ones to really merchandise that in a full complement of both plank and tile. So we retooled the merchandising to kind of get folks focused on, hey, these are the things that you can buy right now. It's been an unbelievable impact to us and to the market. But I think we've responded in a very open and transparent way, and we've gotten feedback from some major customers who have shared with us. Not everyone was being open and transparent like you were, and we now appreciate that it's now caught up to a number of other manufacturers and importers where maybe they were less than transparent, and now it's become blatantly obvious the impact of what's going on.
One of the reasons you're sitting pretty is you acquired that Antico plant in East Georgia. And then you built that Calhoun WPC plant. So you've got infrastructure that other companies, I'm sure, are envious of.
You're right. We do. And if we had not had those U.S. assets in place, the impact to us and to our customers would have been much more significant. It's one of the core values that we've got at Mannington, and that is to control your own destiny. And that really has helped us during these trying times of UFLPA.
So you've reacted with domestic produced products, and are you also filling in with some import product where it fits?
Yeah, we've had to swing into action because there is a good portion of our product offering that still comes from abroad. One of our major suppliers was significantly impacted by UFLPA. They were identified by Customs and Border Patrol, and by the way, they supply to us and other leading competitors in the industry, but they were more impacted, and it forced us to pivot our sourcing strategy. Now we've got a very diversified supply chain offering. We've gone from a couple of suppliers to multiple suppliers that are not only in Asia, but then here in the U.S. as well as India. So we've tried to spread out our product offerings so that we can mitigate potential downstream impacts, because one thing that has become clear to me is that this is to some extent a bit of the new normal. We're moving to a time of uncertainty with regards to the integrity of the supply chain. We fully support this law. Mannington doesn't want to have anything to do with forced labor. It goes against every part of our core values. So we've had to move to a much greater diversification of that supply chain. That creates some complexity for us. Instead of dealing with just a handful of folks, now you've got a multitude of folks that you're staying on top of to make sure that you're getting your goods in a timely fashion to satisfy your customer needs. So by the end of this year, there's a good portion of our entry-level SPC that will be replaced. That's under our Rialta product name. And then as we move into Q1, the flagship of our offering, the Adura Selling Solution, that is going to be coming back into stock. We've been unfortunately not able to get a lot of our SPC, our Adura Rigid goods, our tile offerings, our Adura Max, as well as Adura Rigid tile offerings, which are a really important component of our product offering. Those will be restored in the Q1. So we're really excited about how we're setting up for 2024. Coincidentally, it's going to be the 20-year anniversary of the Adura product line. It's hard to believe it's been 20 years since we introduced that product, but we've made a lot of aggressive changes. You got to go through a whole slew, Kemp, of things that you wouldn't have thought that you had to go through. Third-party due diligence. We've activated now third-party monitoring systems that use AI technology to not only ensure that all of our suppliers are compliant, but that all of their downstream suppliers, their suppliers, it monitors everything. It's a fascinating world of what we've moved into from a supply chain standpoint, where you can see literally real time where your suppliers are obtaining their raw materials, et cetera. It's kind of a fascinating world that this situation has created.
Just a quick reminder to our listeners, the Adura Selling System is where the consumer can come in and pick their look, and then flooring's made out of. Got several components to it. We're about to run out of time. Dave, it's great to talk to you and get an update from you on everything that's going on with Mannington. Again, been talking to David Sheehan, the Senior Vice President of Residential Product and soon to be marketing as well. And you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.